It's said in the Game of Thrones, you either win or lose. In the game of politics, it's often defined as a two-horse race between two both who have been able to gain numbers across the region, making it difficult to predict a victor. Of course, I'm talking of none other than the ODM party leader, Raila Odinga, and the Deputy President, William Ruto. As from the former premier is set to host a number of delegates and thousands of Kenyans at the Kasarani Stadium, where he's set to officially declare his interest of being Kenya's fifth president. However, Odinga has been dealt a major blow after key figures in the country, including the president and Oka principals, snubbed the event. Meanwhile, the deputy president continues to intensify his efforts of climbing the mountain, but has it already fallen out of his tips after the endorsement by the Mount Kenya Foundation to Raila Odinga? Good evening and welcome. My name is Frederick Muitediri, and this is Tipping Point.
The community from Gong to Karimatura and around Mount Kenya is led by a very, very strong and important person.
So on Friday morning, you leaders and the leaders of Upia will convene here early in the morning and we walk to Kasarani for the Azimio la Umoja.
We do not feel safe in the hands of individuals with a history of looting public coffers, land grabbing, and perpetrating the displacement of our people.
So I just want to conclude by thanking you for what you guys are doing here, tell you that we are together with you, but I'm not going to respond to the requests until Friday. On Friday, mimi nitatoa jawabu.
It is a huge contradiction for anybody to talk about unity when they are dividing the country into tribal, regional, village parties.
This is going to be such a discussion. And to have this discussion, we are joined by Member of Parliament from Dewa constituency, Martin Owino. We have Nathaniel Mongare, who is the head of programs at ANC Party. And we are also joined by political strategist Maina Karobia, who is also a member of UDA Party. And we start with those who are here in studio. I can see Mheshimiwa is there already. Let me start with Mheshimiwa. Mheshimiwa, what does it mean for you tomorrow? It's a big day for ODM Party. What does it mean for you? Mheshimiwa, can you hear me? Mheshimiwa Martin? All right, let's come to the studio. Now, let's start with you. Is it sure to say that ANC has nabbed this event and you're not going to be there tomorrow for issues to do with Oka principles and Raila Odinga in 2022? Talk to me.
Thank you so much for having me. First of all, this is a very interesting debate. And first of all, I want to pass a concern to the members of the fourth estate that your coverage is quite biased.
Why?
Because you are trying to doing the country to believing that there are only two options in this country when there is a variety of options. We need a fair coverage of all the people who are interested in running for the presidency of this country. You cannot continue to shape the narrative that it is only Ruto and Raila who are the presidential candidates, or rather, who have the credentials to run this country. We have, times without number, through the party rank and file, the party organ called the National Governing Council, declared that Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi will be on the ballot next year. And next month, in January, we are going to have a mammoth National Delegate Convention of ANC party from the grassroots to come and affirm that endorsement of the National Governing Council. So I want to...
We will cover you then. We will cover you.
No. Because you have to give a balanced
you don't
coverage.
Want to be covered. You've just said you want fair coverage.
We have invited the media several into our events, but we get limited coverage. And I think probably we are going to sponsor a law through our members of parliament that there should be a fair coverage during the presidential campaigns.
There's a law already.
Yeah, no, there should be a fair coverage because it seems that the media is trying to hoodwink the country into two options. And that narrative must be clear. Number two, Raila Amolo Odinga and Ruto, these are people who don't have any track record. Number two, they don't have any solid policy. For instance, Raila Odinga is selling 6,000 Kenyan shillings promise to young people who are unemployed, which is basically going to fail. And it's going to turn the country into a welfare state. If the government is unable to pay 2,000 shillings to old people above the age of 70, how can the social assistance program of ODM, as they are proposing to the country, going to salvage the country? The country does not need a president who is going to give fish to the people. It needs a president who is going to give the means for the people to serve themselves. That's number one. Number two, the bottom up, where Maina Karobia is, I don't know whether he's still there because he's calling himself a political strategist, is only going to serve the people at the bottom. But the Uchumi Bora Pesa Mfukoni policy platform of ANC is not only going to serve the people at the bottom, it's going to serve the people at the middle and at the top. This is the policy platform that is going to grow all the sectors of the economy. And that's why I'm saying we need to interrogate the issues.
Hold still, Nathaniel. It was just an introduction. Martin, Mheshimiwa Martin from Diwa constituency, what does it mean for you tomorrow? It's a big day for ODM party. You've been preparing us for this long. Are we going to see Raila Odinga finally saying that, yes, nitakuwa kwenye debe mwaka ujao? You can unmute yourself, Mheshimiwa. Ndugu, unmute yourself.
I have.
Beautiful. Now I can hear you.
All right. I have to say that this is a very big day, and it is big in the sense that the first thing you have to do in a country is to unite a country. I can remember Kwame Nkrumah when he said, we don't have industries, we don't have capital, we don't have this. The only asset we have as Africans is to unite so that we can pull strength like strings put together and move forward. So many people are talking about politics, yes, but Raila put his agenda first, that they want to unite Kenyans so that we can move in one direction in fairness. So yes, tomorrow is a big day for the whole nation, and people have come from all quarters of this country. And the main issue is to unite Kenyans first before you sell even your politics.
Mheshimiwa, I have a question for you. You are saying that you're going to unite the country, but we know right now that a section of this country, following William Samoei Ruto, the deputy president, is not in that team. How are you uniting the country if part of the country is not united to you? We can see ANC party that has supported Raila Odinga over and over again is not in that team. How are you uniting the country?
Okay, I mean, uniting the party does not mean bring everybody together on one table. Atmosphere where people can tolerant to each other. So people mistake that even when you win presidency or you win any election, you don't have 100%. But creating that atmosphere of people to feel they are at home, even if they're a divergent opinion, that is what we really want to achieve. So yes, there are many parties, and that is what Raila fight for. That is what Odinga, the late, fought for, so that we can have an environment where people can feel their voice can be heard, even if majority have it. They can also be heard at the same time. So the main goal is to set an atmosphere that even if we are going to have our campaigns, let us be united, let us have a peaceful cause. That is what it is. So diversity in unity is always what we preach.
Let me bring in Maina at this point. Maina, you are a strategist for UDA. I don't know why you're running from that. Maina, you are in UDA. Tell us, do you feel ODM has brought the country together the way they've been telling the country that we are united?
Fred, thank you for having me here today. First of all, that Raila Odinga is still talking about unity is actually a confirmation that the handshake has been a flop. You cannot be talking of unity 4 years down the line, yet you are trying to justify you are coming together with President Uhuru Kenyatta as a point of bringing the country together. So in essence, the Azimio event is actually a confirmation that this country, or the handshake of 2018, it has actually been a flop. The other thing I want to say is that we have seen the party leaders of ANC, Ford Kenya, Wiper. They have all declined the invitation to the Azimio event. That is actually a confirmation that tomorrow's Azimio event is ODM National Delegates Conference, and not a national event as ODM is trying to.
You're saying it's not a national event?
It is not a national event. It is actually a ODM National Delegates Conference. I think ODM should have marketed the event as such, and not trying to sweeten it with the catchphrases of it is trying to, that it is a national event.
But give it to them. They've tried to put a national face on it. Give it to them.
How? By just calling some political mouthpieces and telling Mount Kenya oligarchy to support them. Yet, and I'm very sad that the media is trying to be projecting that Mount Kenya has endorsed Raila Odinga. I want to say
they were endorsed by Mount Kenya Foundation, though.
Listen, Fred, you and I come from Mount Kenya, and we know no one elected those Mount Kenya billionaires. They only represent private interest, and they only represent power and wealth.
Hold still. We'll talk about Mount Kenya Foundation in a short while. Yes. But let me come to you, Mungare. You have been together with Raila Odinga for many years. What changed along the way now that you're not going to an event that was supposed to bring the country together?
First of all, I want to agree with Maina without sounding that we are going to join an alliance with UDA. That first of all,
there are those talks, though.
Yes, no, there are no talks between us and UDA because their policy platform is only limited to the poor masses. Us is everyone. Uchumi bora kwa wote. Number two, what Mheshimiwa is saying that this is not a national event. This is just a catchy phrase called Azimio la Umoja. And by the way, Azimio la Umoja, ODM is the only political party in this country that does not have creativity at all. They just translated the word One Kenya Alliance into Azimio la Umoja. How do you translate One Kenya Alliance into Kiswahili? Give me the direct translation of One Kenya Alliance into Kiswahili. It is Azimio la Umoja. These are people who see that we have done something and then they do it.
They joined you in NASA in 2017.
And remember, Musalia Mudavadi and ANC were the vision bearers and the founders of NASA. So critically, you can be able to see that who has the vision for this country. Number two, the reason why we are not conjoined with ODM in this election, and I don't think in the near future, because ODM is going to, the orange is rotting, is because of the betrayal that was meted on the Kenyan people at River Jordan. You remember the struggles that we were walking through Egypt and Canaan. We went all the way to River Jordan, and ODM meted the betrayal on the Kenyan people. What did they do? We had an NASA manifesto called the Road to Canaan manifesto. Therein, we said we want to revive agriculture so that the people of Mount Kenya that Raila is trying to hoodwink can be able to get a fair share in terms of the agricultural produce. For example, the farmers in the tea farmers in Limuru, they are getting 40 shillings a kilo in terms of bonuses when they should be getting more. My farmers in Nyamira County, North Mugirango, where I'm running for Member of Parliament, are getting 7 shillings a kilo. In Sanganyi Tea Factory, where people are getting 7 shillings a kilo as tea bonuses, when all that was contained in the Road to Canaan manifesto. If you look at the revival of many sugar sectors, millers, for example, the Mumias sugar, the Chemili sugar, the sugar sector, which was being dependent upon by more than 8 million Kenyans, was crippled, and it was contained in the Road to Canaan manifesto. This is the betrayal that we are talking about. The cost people. The revival of the tourism and many other sectors of the economy was meted at River Jordan because of the selfish interest of one person. This is why we disagreed clearly.
Okay.
Number two, we said with ODM that we ceded our right to field the presidential candidate in 2017 as ANC party. And we said that we are going to mobilize our support base to support the candidate of NASA, who was then Raila Amolo Odinga. And we agreed in the NASA coalition agreement that we are going to share the political parties fund and share positions in parliament and government. But when they got there, they kicked out Moses Wetangula from the position of minority leadership in the Senate. They refused, up to date, to share the political parties fund so that we can be able to entrench democracy by supporting youth and women and persons with disability programs within our parties.
Okay.
This is the betrayal that we are talking about in ODM. There is no way we can continue to support. A Raila political experiment cannot work again.
Okay.
That's why we are trying a new experiment called Uchumi Bora kwa wote pesa mfukoni.
Let's hear Martin. Martin, you know, you can hear my guest here in studio. UDA and ANC, they are in disagreement that Raila Odinga is not bringing Kenyans together. And you are saying you have to build the atmosphere. The atmosphere here in the studio is very different. So and they are saying that Raila Odinga hoodwinked ANC party, and now what we are seeing tomorrow is a one party.
They hoodwink Kenyans.
They hoodwink. Mongare. All right. What do you hear from these two in the studio? Do you feel that Raila Odinga has been able to achieve what was meant to be achieved in 2017?
They make self-pronunciation. But I'm coming from a school of thought that says, if you see oranges on the tree and you want to get one or two, just get to the branches and climb. But don't climb on the shoulders of others to press them down so that you can down people. That's kind of old politics. I would like ourselves as Kenyans to policy purely, but don't make like Raila if you cannot see what he has done for this country, then you have just refused to see, which is okay in politics, but it's kind of old politics. Number two, some people have no vision at all for tomorrow. And they will say this now was more than national, international. And it is going to be a huge thing. So dismissing it as ODM delegates.
Mheshimiwa, we are losing you. I think your connection is not very stable. We'll be coming back to you in a short while. But let me come to you, Karobia. Mheshimiwa is saying that you guys you don't have any vision for tomorrow, for uniting a country.
My friend, Fred, our country is not at war. People are united today. The only question that we have is the economic challenges. But don't you feel,
Karobia,
yes,
that the peace that we are having in Kenya today is courtesy of the handshake? Don't you feel that? Because you remember what was happening in 2017. You remember.
The peace that we are enjoying today is founded on the coming together of William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta in 2013 and collapsing their parties, that is URP and TNA, and forming the Jubilee government. And they have actually, and let me tell you, the handshake is founded on the unity principle of Jubilee Jubilee Party. Let me tell you, we as a party, or UDA, if you look at its values and its principles, unity is actually one of the principles of the party. But we have moved further, and now we are talking about the economic aspirations of the country. Let me tell you, Fred, the reason as to why people go to war is when they don't find something on the table. When I find that I'm going to sleep hungry today, tomorrow I will wake up very angry, and let me tell you, a hungry person is an angry person. So we are trying to sort out the economic challenges that the economic question that we have been facing in this country in 2022, and that's why UDA is presenting the bottom-up economic model as the flagship vision for this country. And let me tell you, we have a track record. I disagree with my friend when he says that UDA doesn't have a track record, and it's
which one? But you came in this year.
The party leader has a track record. We are well aware that when he was the Minister of Agriculture, he provided the farm input subsidy for all farmers in our country, and that's when Kenya for the first time in our country could talk of being food secure. And since then we have not got any outcome in terms of farm output, as we experienced when he was the Minister of Agriculture. When he was the Minister of Higher Education, he reduced the entry period from 2 years to 6 months. And that's why we have so many educated people in our country. And actually, he also helped in terms of rolling out the TVETs as a project.
You're laying down your manifesto in my studio today. We are talking about Azimio.
The Azimio, let me tell you.
Yes.
There's nothing to talk about Azimio.
We will talk about it, Fred, because it's an event that is happening tomorrow.
Let me tell you,
and your party leader, let me come to you.
Yes.
Your party leader,
yes,
William Samoei Ruto, yes, today has talked about Azimio, so we must talk about it, Karobia.
Let me tell you, Fred.
Yes.
Fred, the Azimio event tomorrow is not a new thing. It is something that Raila Odinga has done severally in the past. But the result has only been one, a loss at the presidential vote. So,
are you saying he's going to lose this time around?
He is losing. Let me tell you, the election in 2022 is based on two principles. The billionaire candidate, Raila Odinga, who is also a state project, and the people's candidate who is William Samoei Ruto, who has a track record and a vision for the country.
Hold
That is the
still.
bottom
Now,
line.
Mongare, he's saying that the peace that we are enjoying today is not courtesy of handshake. Do you agree with that or do you disagree?
First of all, the two of you really surprised me because you're saying that the party leader of UDA and he's also alluding to the party leader of UDA as the deputy president. I don't know the party leader of UDA because the deputy president is a member of Jubilee Party and is a deputy party leader of Jubilee Party. I have read through the Political Parties Act. I have not seen a law that says that somebody can belong to two parties at the same time. In fact, the deputy president, and I don't know who is the party leader of UDA, because the
he is, come on, Mongare. Can we say he's not the party leader and we know it's his party?
No, you have to, you have to look at the law. Can you tell me the membership number of Ruto in UDA? Because every member of a party. Now, I'm just asking him a simple question. Because the deputy president is behaving like a political amoeba. The one who is shaping, who is taking the shape of a container. If the container is square, it becomes square. If the container is rectangle, it becomes. This is the character of a political amoeba. People who are changing goalposts. For example, the deputy president, he has changed parties 5 times in less than 10 years. In 2013, he was in ODM. He moved to UDM. Then he went to URP. In 2016, he went to Jubilee Party, now in UDA. Allegedly.
We are
so
digressing.
I'm just telling you.
That's why I wanted to bring back. Let me ask you, do you think there is a possibility that Raila Odinga will endorse someone else? Is there a possibility like that?
Raila Odinga is a man of proverbs and is a man of 9 lives. There's nothing huge to expect tomorrow other than a coronation of an ODM candidate for president. And this time round, the vote basket that the Raila Amolo Odinga used to enjoy in the traditional stronghold, Western is gone. Coast is largely a battlefield for everyone. Ukambani is going away from his feet. If you look at the vote basket, the traditional stronghold, politics has changed to issues. And that's why when you see us talking about, we started this conversation a long time ago. We used to say we need to reduce the public.
So you're not going to, by any chance, you will not endorse Raila Odinga at one point? Because we have seen Musalia Mudavadi, you are party leader. We have seen Musalia Mudavadi, not once, not twice, endorsing someone else. He's endorsed Raila Odinga in 2017. No one saw it coming because he was the head of NASA.
And he did that out of good grace because the ODM people, after negotiations, we agreed that this was their final bullet. And as a spirit of good faith and for the statesmanship that has been exhibited by Raila Amolo Odinga, we said that since we have a common agenda of removing Jubilee out of power, we unite as the parties in the opposition, because that time we were in the opposition. There was CORD, they moved from CORD, they joined our outfit NASA, and we said as opposition parties, our agenda now is to remove Jubilee out of power that time. Now, the same party you're talking about, UDA, with the bottom-up economics associated with the deputy president, is the same person who has perpetuated the fall of the government. Right now, we have a 9 trillion debt, and the perpetrator is the president and the deputy president. I don't know why will you reinvent the wheel when somebody is sitting in government as a deputy president with a half of government and you are saying you're promising bottom up. Why don't you do those things at this point in time? These are the people who promised in an election manifesto of Jubilee in 2013 and the re-election manifesto of Jubilee 2017, they will create 1.2 million jobs a year. They will create a double-digit economy. They will revive the sectors.
Now they're saying 10 million.
Now the deputy president is saying 10 million jobs a year. When we know very well that the economic outlook reports by KNBS, the government statistician, is saying that we cannot be able to, more than 16 million Kenyans who are capable of working, cannot find a meaningful employment.
I don't know, my director.
Lack of lies.
My director, do we have Martin back? Do we have Martin back? I'm being told his internet is not stable.
We have to dismantle the
Martin,
lies.
let me bring in Martin. Martin, there is a conversation, I don't know if you caught this conversation. There is a conversation that Raila Odinga was endorsed by Musalia Mudavadi in 2017. And there is a need for Raila Odinga to endorse Musalia Mudavadi in 2022, as was explained to us in 2017. Is there a possibility that Raila Odinga will be endorsing someone else tomorrow?
The person talking about endorsement knows what it means. Because you have to have the mass to endorse somebody to spring up to a level you want him to be. Musalia, as I respect him very much, was a part of the coalition. Raila is not going to endorse anybody this time. And I had some disturbing remarks. I don't know who you have in the studio, but at least people should know history.
You know, the Uda person, when Ruto was the Minister of Agriculture, what comes to the mind of people, he was sacked because of corruption. Uda has nothing to offer. The bottom up they are yapping every day is already there. We have youth enterprise rolled up to my constituency. Women enterprise, devolution. There's nothing new. In fact, these people are making empty statements. Somebody said that he has no track record. Yes, it is. I can only remember Ruto as YK92. That's it. But all along, what he has moved through is corruption. So don't come and tell Kenyans that you have anything new, especially if you cannot respect the president. Fred, there's a say, you can only lead if you know how to be led. That has killed that team. Beating chest, arrogance, and all that. Now, let me talk about Raila Odinga. There's this thing they are dismissing as 6,000 to household. You know, it's not just giving people. You can't get economy on sick and poor people. You cannot. When somebody has a push or a wind on his back or her back and gets to the garden to work, to the farm to work, or take a child to hospital, pay a fee here and there, he's making a strong fabric for economic growth. That's what is there even in the Western countries. The welfare is demonized every day, but welfare is about the strength of the people who are pushing the economy. So that should not be underrated. The other thing that Raila is going to do, which we ought to have done from independence, from the word go, is to develop rural economy. When the white men left and the Africans took over, they did the same mistake which the white men did. That is, living in urban areas where there was light, good roads, water, good school, good health, and the rural folks, where 75% of Kenyans were left in poverty. In fact, Uhuru got it right. If he had a support of building manufacturing industries in rural areas, slums here, people would be living in their homes and working in those industries. China have done the same.
All right. Martin, allow me to just go on a break. We'll be back with more. I'll be talking about that and talking about endorsement, that he will not endorse anyone else. And I asked you earlier on, should Raila Odinga endorse someone else? Should Raila Odinga endorse someone else? Talk to us via our SMS line that is on 111 444 111. Also on Twitter at Switch TV Kenya, at Fred Mutiriri. We are taking a short break. We'll be back with more in a short while. Don't go anywhere.